We are now, okay, we're now hearing that St. Charles Parish has begun their press conference. Let's head over there.
Sorry. President of Firemen's Association, Armand Bork, GOSEP Region 3 Coordinator, Pam Roussel, and our School Superintendent, Ken Ortling. President Jewell could not be with us this morning or today as his wife Sarah gave birth to their second child this morning. So we have remained in constant communication with him, and we expect to see him soon. Earlier today, President Jewell declared a state of emergency ahead of the storm, and the EOC has been activated. Tropical Storm Sally is expected to become a hurricane before making landfall just south of Jefferson Parish and Lafourche Parish. It is anticipated that we will see 29 hours of tropical storm force winds. 16 of that will be strong tropical storm force winds, and 6 or more will be Category 1 strength winds or greater. A storm surge of 4 to 7 feet and rainfall of totals up to 20 inches in some areas is also anticipated. These conditions are predicted to occur for a longer duration and more intense than what we saw during Hurricane Katrina. This is a storm everyone needs to take seriously. With that said, President Jewell has met with the EOC and the St. Charles Parish Sheriff and is issuing a mandatory evacuation for all St. Charles Parish residents. Residents should prepare and make arrangements to evacuate now. Making the decision to call an evacuation is not made lightly. We know that it's inconvenient and that it's not fun. However, our top priority is always the safety of our residents. The conditions we are anticipating would inhibit us from providing our residents with crucial services. This means we could be without power for an extended period of time, which could affect our water and sewage services. These conditions would also limit emergency services such as EMS and police. COVID-19 should not prevent people or keep you from evacuating. We will begin assisted evacuations tomorrow morning. Assisted evacuations are to be used as an absolute last resort. Everyone is encouraged to use all other resources to evacuate, such as family, friends, and even neighbors. We cannot guarantee air conditioning at the shelter, and we will only be providing you with a cot. Please bring your own pillow and blanket. Anyone using the assisted evacuation is limited to 1 bag only. No weapons or contraband are allowed, and items not allowed will be confiscated. We will be taking necessary precautions related to COVID-19, including masks and social distancing. If you need to utilize our assisted evacuation, please call the EOC at 985-783-5050. Residents are not allowed to drive up to the assisted evacuation site. You must contact the EOC and arrange to be picked up. Again, that number is 985-783-5050. While it is not advised, if you plan to stay, please be prepared for widespread power outages. If you have a generator, please ensure you educate yourself on proper use. After Hurricane Laura, we saw fatalities related to improper generator usage, and we do not want that to happen here. Remember, generators should be operated outdoors and not in an enclosed space, and at least 20 feet away from your home. Again, we are not advising that you stay, but if you do, you could potentially see power outages for 7 to 10 days. It is hot, and we cannot guarantee that we will have any of our other services available if we lose power. We just simply cannot run those services. All government buildings and the courthouse will be closed tomorrow and will reopen once the storm passes and we can assess damages. As long as the landfill remains open tomorrow, trash service will take place. They will be starting early in hopes of finishing pickup by noon. So if tomorrow is your pickup schedule day, put your trash out. However, please do not put out bulk debris. We will not have time to get to all the bulk debris, and we do not want it to get into our drainage system and cause blockages. All sandbag locations are open, and we ask residents to only take what you need. If you go to a sandbag location, you will need to bring your own shovel. While doing your preparations, please assess catch basins, storm drains, and ditches around your home. Public Works is out making preparations, but we could use all the help we can get. Again, President Jewell has issued a mandatory evacuation, and we are encouraging residents to take necessary steps to protect their homes and plan to evacuate, as well as plan for extended periods of no power. If you have any issues or questions, you can ask them of us on Facebook or call the EOC at 985-783-5050. With that, I'm going to turn it over to a few of the folks behind me, and then we'll take some questions. I'm going to turn it over to our director of the EOC, Joe Ganote.
Thank you. That's a lot said. Just so you know that we don't take these decisions lightly, I want to certainly make sure that everybody understands that we had a lot of conversations this morning about what would be the best for the parish and the residents of St. Charles Parish, and this is what we came up with. Certainly a mandatory evacuation seems a bit drastic a lot of times to people, but ultimately when you look at the facts and the potential for risky conditions, it's the only decision you can make. So fortunately we were able to come to a conclusion this morning, able to put this in motion and start making precautions and taking precautions for the assisted evacuation that's going to take place tomorrow morning. I want to reiterate also the COVID. If you have a concern about COVID, don't let that stop you from evacuating or using the assisted evacuations. We will take necessary precautions to limit the exposure the best we can, but ultimately your safety is the most important thing at this time. I can take any questions if you have, or I'll turn it over to Sheriff Champagne.
Thanks, Joe. Sheriff Greg Champagne here in St. Charles Parish. From our standpoint, we've been through these events many times, and I just want to outline for you essentially the way we're gonna handle it. Tomorrow, we view it as probably traffic control. We're going to go to full shifts tomorrow night as of dark, when probably the more full effects of the storm start to come in, which means we'll have double the number of deputies patrolling the streets. Tomorrow, with several parishes around us that have declared either total or partial evacuations, we expect traffic. We're sort of what I call a pass-through parish. Highway 90, Airline Drive, I-10. We end up, in many cases, getting a lot of traffic where we have to go out and assist. So we'll probably be doing a lot of that tomorrow. I would add, while I'm on the traffic standpoint, is that it is not unusual for us to see. In fact, I saw it coming over here, people getting anxious. They tend to drive a little more carelessly. So I would urge everyone, take a deep breath. We're gonna get through it. Drive carefully. Don't go through a red light that's red and because your mind is on evacuation or a family member or other important things. And I've already seen some of that kind of driving today. And I know it's because people are concerned and they're anxious about what's happening. So please, take it easy. Let's don't have needless accidents. And we normally see an increase in accidents in advance of something like this. So tomorrow night we'll be watching, we will move towards a property protection mode. We're anticipating, as you heard, and one of the reasons for the evacuation is we're looking at some extensive power outages. Some of the reports that I heard, and again, we're kind of unique here in the parish. We know how the tides affect us. But what we heard from the National Hurricane Center today was wind velocities stronger here in St. Charles Parish than we possibly experienced during Hurricane Katrina. And all of us who live here know the type of tree damage we had down, the structural damage we had down, which kept us out of power for days and days. So we hope that's not going to happen. We hope that we're truly preparing for the worst, and it's going to be a lot better than what we're preparing for. But, you know, we have to take these steps because what we heard today from the experts is that this could be a very, very serious storm, which puts power out for days. Then, as a delayed impact, the lower lying areas in the southern part of the parish especially, Des Allemands, Bayou Gauche, are looking at and we get a delayed effect here. The storm surge usually comes in the day after, so after the storm moves through, we're expecting some pretty high surges in those areas. I know the parish workers are shoring up those HESCO baskets and sandbags in Bayou Gauche and Des Allemands, so we do have still, that's kind of our vulnerable point of storm surge getting in. So we will, again, back to a law enforcement role. We're going to be out as long as there are power outages. We're going to be with extra complements of deputies patrolling the neighborhoods, especially in the nighttime where power is out and it's going to be pretty dark. So again, we're preparing for the worst. We're hoping it's not going to be as bad, and we're taking a lot of steps that maybe we don't need to take. But everything that I can see here that we're doing is really justified by the information that we've received today. Any questions?
Question for you. Have you had to relocate any of your prisoners, or have you taken any prisoners from other parishes?
We're not relocating. Again, this has caught all of us by pretty much surprised. So we've got about 400 inmates at Nelson Coleman. We have a nice berm there. We've got pumps. And again, we think if we do have a storm surge that comes up through the Lake des Allemands Basin, it's really a delayed effect, and we kind of get to see it coming for a day or two. So it's not going to be, we don't believe that we're going to be inundated if that happens, if the worst happens. So we believe we got time, and we don't think it's necessary for us to evacuate our inmates.
Have you taken in inmates from other parishes?
We have not, no. In fact, with COVID, we've had very little movement of inmates, period. Thank you for that. Oh, anything else? Okay.
Good afternoon. Ken Ortling, Superintendent of St Charles Parish Public Schools. My announcement's pretty short, but we will close schools between Monday and Wednesday, and we'll assess after that whether or not we continue to close any additional days. And we just stand ready to support our parish with transportation needs when it comes to evacuation of those needy constituents. So we're here ready to assist, and if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer any.
Great. Again, lastly, I just want to say, Joe hit on this and I mentioned it earlier. These decisions are not made lightly, and we know that it seems early, but we want our residents to be able to have the time to get out and make arrangements as necessary. That's why we're calling for this today. So with that, I'll take any questions that you might have.
From an infrastructure standpoint, how is the parish in the low-lying areas? Sandbags, bermage, that kind of thing?
So unfortunately, we just kind of went through this a couple weeks ago with preparations for Hurricane Marco and Laura. So we're in a good position there. Our public works team is in Des Allemands and ensuring that the HESCO baskets are there and that the areas there are built up as much as they need to. Boat launches will close this evening between 6 and 8 p.m. tonight. So anyone out on the water needs to make sure that they've come in by that time, because there are some holes in those HESCO baskets that we will need to put sandbags and fill those areas. So between 6 and 8 tonight is when the boat launches will all close.
You said you're expecting, of course, power outages. What about water?
So, water's obviously a concern as well. With a storm surge of 4 to 7 feet possible and up to 20 inches of rain, water's always a concern with hurricanes. We feel like we're in a good position. Our pump stations are all operable. Again, we've been preparing, for Hurricane Laura and Hurricane Marco before, so we're in a good position with Tropical Storm Sally with what it brings.
What about drinking water?
Oh, drinking water. Right now that's in a good place, but if we lose power, then we can only supply, that for so long. Our systems can only, can do what they can with, until they don't have any power. So we have generators on those areas, but there's only so much we can do after there's a long duration with no electricity. Anything else? Anyone? Oh.
I just want to clarify something, because I've gotten a couple of texts since I was standing here with regards to mandatory evacuation. For people that maybe have not, we haven't had a mandatory evacuation here for a few years. This does not mean that we're going to go pull you out your home and drag you off somewhere. That doesn't mean it at all. In fact, I never did like the term mandatory evacuation. But what it really truly means is that we believe that there is a reasonable chance of conditions that are going to be pretty extreme, where you're not going to have power, you're not going to have the ability to maybe buy gasoline or go to food stores for a while, and we have to feel that that lets people know that you may be in a situation where we're not able to provide those services to you, maybe not even law enforcement services, depending. So when those conditions, that there is a reasonably likelihood there to be present, and some other things that the parish officials look at, it reaches the threshold of a mandatory evacuation. But we're not going to pull people out of their homes. We anticipate that probably a large number of residents are not going to leave. They have generators, they got food, they know the drill. People are resourceful here in St. Charles Parish, and we have full confidence that those that are here are going to be safe and have the supplies they need. But if you have the ability to go, you have some elderly family members with you who may be not in the best of health, and you have a place to go, or somebody else that can take you further north, it's not a bad idea to do it. Maybe you might want to think about doing it, because it's hot and things are going to be rough, possibly. Again, we hope it's not going to be that way. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. And again, we want people to be able to have the time to prepare. There's a high probability that we're going to be without power for a long period of time. So while we're not going and knocking on people's doors and pulling them out of their homes, we do think that you should make the right decisions when looking at this storm and take it seriously. I know we've had a lot of close calls in the past, and people say, oh, it's not raining today and we're just going to get a sprinkle, but again, we do not make these decisions lightly, so we really ask all of our residents to heed the warnings and continue to listen to us. We'll continue to put information out on our website, which is stcharlesparish.la.gov. Our social media, our Facebook, Instagram, Cox Channel 6, and Uverse Channel 99. Thank you.